I was brought in to meet with the production, the creative team, to just do the motion capture. Because of my dance and circus background, um, they thought I was a good candidate, and I had to go through a couple trials of, can she move well? Can she take choreography? Can she do fighting? Can she learn how to, operate guns and such? And so I don't know if there were other options. Because I never felt or knew who I was up against as far as doing the motion capture, but I just started, getting brought in for training, and because Sheva is left-handed and I'm right-handed, so they were like, yeah, we're gonna have you work with guns and rifles and get you certified and get you comfortable doing everything with your left hand. So we went through a session and a couple callbacks of doing that, and then they were shooting, which is all over social media. You see us dressed up in the actual cosplay of the characters. And those were for previs, for Capcom, and which were so much fun because this production was directed by a film director, Jim Sonzero, and which is not usually the case from what I, at least at that time. I think it's different now. But we got the chance to go through the whole script, scene for scene, dressed as the characters, doing, all the choreography, all the blocking. It gave Capcom a great map of what they wanted to do when we got to the mocap sessions. It made the mocap sessions go super quick because by the time we shot all of that and then got into the mocap sessions, we already knew the blocking, we already knew the lines, we already knew it was just like, okay, it was a breeze,
Taking a life and giving life? Fighting and living? I wasn't looking to fight to the death.
Hi, my name is Eva La Dare. You may know me as Sheva Alomar from Resident Evil 5 or Elena from Street Fighter 6 coming out June 5th. And you are listening to the #1 podcast in Hawaii, the Kasanova podcast.
You're not nervous.
I don't know what you're gonna say.
Nothing too controversial. All right, okay.
Not too controversial. Okay. Okay.
All right. Okay. Aloha and welcome everyone to another episode of Hawaii's #1 podcast, the Kasanova podcast. I can't even say my name. I'm your host, Mekel, aka Mekel Kasanova, and I am joined today by the one, the only, the lovely Eva La Dare. Eva, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you for that intro. I'm very good.
Awesome. It is an honor to have you on the show. Big fan of your work, and I know there's a lot of the audience that are very excited to have you return to the Street Fighter franchise as Elena. And and not only that, I mean, you've done a lot of other things, from baskets to Shining Veil, How to Get Away with Murder. You do a lot of stuff. It's not just voice acting. You're acting, writing, modeling. Like, what is a typical day like for you?
Oh, well, I don't think any day is like any other day. I think that's what I enjoy about this business, that it's always changing. Whether it's a different project, a different character, a different skill that I have to, work with, and people, all the different people I get to work with. So the days never look alike. A typical say? I think as an actor, uh, especially a voice actor, your typical days are probably self-taping.
Hmm.
You're putting in the submissions to get the work. I think I spend more days going over various auditions, and then when I do get to work, it's a blessing, and we all hope to fill 365 days a year with that. But I think there's a lot of time spent honing skills and just putting in another tape and putting in your best work.
Awesome, awesome. So I will get the prerequisite questions out of the way. The
Yeah.
okay, so we gotta go ahead and dive into it. All right, so returning to the Street Fighter franchise, and I promise this will be short. Like we're not
No,
gonna linger
no, it's
too
good. It's
long
good.
on it,
It's fine. It's fine.
but reprising your role as Elena in Street Fighter, like when the announcement came out and then the trailer came out, I know for me, I was like, wait, that's Eva La Dare. But I know like because I have a lot of friends that are voice actors for like the characters in Street Fighter, and it's like they can never say anything when until like it gets announced. But how did it feel for you coming back to the franchise after it's I think when
It,
Street
it
Fighter
was
4? It's been a while, yeah.
It's been 11 years,
Hmm.
which, I don't know what's common. I mean, I don't know if anything's common in this business, but I certainly wasn't expecting it. It was such a wonderful surprise.
Hmm.
Um, you know, uh, it started, I mean, obviously they reached out, and I think the main concern, because of the range for Elena, she's really in my upper register, and they just wanted to make sure that I was still able to do that. So I did have to send a test, but once we got past that, we were all good. And yeah, it was just a joy to come back and to see that she got to grow up a little.
Yeah.
you know um that was a nice surprise too, because sometimes characters return and they're just what they were,
Hmm.
which would be fine. But this was a really nice, a welcome surprise to have her sort of mature and
Yeah.
see, having come back, seeing the world, right? So yeah, that was fun.
Awesome, awesome. And you've also done like modeling cosplay as the character. And
Yes.
is there anything like what was the inspiration for you for doing that? And do you have anything in the works that you'd like to talk about?
Hmm. Well, let's start with where it started. So, my my beginnings in video games was obviously through my character Sheva Alomar,
Hmm.
and you know, I had gone to a couple conventions, and I'm just always blown away by the creativity of the fans and the fandom, and how detailed and just expressive they get to be at these conventions. And I thought, well, I mean, come on, this it just made sense. So back when the game came out, I actually did. I think at that time I was working with a couple. I think I only did a couple of the costumes, the outfits, um, but I did a calendar that
Hmm.
was just put out on the internet. I didn't charge for it. I just, it was just like, hey, here's a calendar. But I had so much fun doing it. And then, you know, uh, there were a couple outfits that I missed, the business Sheva and fairy tale Sheva. So later on, as years went by, I was like, I got to pick that one up. And so, uh, the photographer that I've worked with, Roland's Patagon, um, he has been there since the beginning,
Hmm.
taking the photos. And so I would just call him and be like, I think we should do another one. And then we would get together and do another one. And that's how Business Sheva came about. And then, it took me a couple of years because, people were asking, are you going to do Fairy Tale? And I was like, oh, it's such a specific costume. It seemed to be the hardest one for me to put together.
Yeah.
But, I think I did that one. Did I? I can't remember if it was right after COVID. I think it was right after
Hmm.
COVID. Well, I mean, there was a lot of time. So I was like, okay, this is the time to do it. Uh, so yeah, I was like, you know what, we're just going to do it. And, I was really happy with the way it came out. And then, I did the same for Elena. I think that was almost 10 years ago. And then, yeah, I might have just done another photo shoot yesterday.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. Okay.
May have done a photo shoot. So we'll see what comes out of that one. But yeah, I definitely enjoy dressing up.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, yeah, I work a lot of the conventions out here for as press, and some of the things, the costumes and the creativity and literally bringing these characters either from, the video games or from, the manga or anime to
Yeah,
just 3D, just to real
yeah,
life. It's so surreal.
isn't it?
Like I'm like, how do you do it? And just a lot of them, especially out here in Hawaii, it's always hot. Like I tell people, there's only three types of temperatures we have in Hawaii: hot,
Yeah,
hotter, and hot as hell. Like it's the only three that we have. And just seeing people decked out head to toe,
the
fully in
commitment,
costume, I'm just
the
like,
commitment,
it couldn't be me.
and that's why when I have gone through these different shoots, I take the same amount of commitment. I don't know the same. I mean, some of these costumes are amazing, but I try to attempt to, pay attention to the details. And when you do, I don't know, I found the whole experience so rewarding because in the end, you can look at it and go, yeah, I made sure that that was the right look for this and the right look for that. And, it's very satisfying. I get it. I totally get it. It's a great collaboration too when I get to work with the same person all the time because he already knows what we're going after, and we don't have to explain anything, we just do it.
So quick questions. I have one. What was it like? Because I know people are going to be like, how come you didn't ask this? I look.
You
Okay.
guys talking about all this other crap. Okay, yeah,
Okay, we're talking about the real stuff, people. Y'all just want. Okay, anyway. So,
yeah,
okay,
and yes.
what was it like becoming Sheva Alomar for Resident Evil 5, and how did you get into the for the accent, like getting used to speaking with the accent? I know TJ told me he does D&D every week, so he
Yeah.
gets in the role of like, we're gonna speak in this whole game, we're just gonna speak in this accent and go from there. What was the process for you?
um well, it began with, well, let me see, let me answer the first part of the question. How did I get into the role, right?
Yeah.
So initially, I was brought in to meet with the production, the creative team, to just do the motion capture
Hmm.
because of my dance and circus background. Um, I, they thought I was a good candidate, and I had to go through a couple trials of, can she move well? Can she take choreography? Can she do fighting? Can she learn how to, operate guns and such? And so I don't know if there were other options that, I mean, because I never felt or knew who I was up against as far
Hmm.
as doing the motion capture, but I just started, getting brought in for training, and because Sheva is left-handed, and I'm right-handed. So, they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna have you work with guns and rifles and get you certified and get you comfortable doing everything with your left hand." So, you know, we went through a session and a couple callbacks of doing that, and then they were shooting, which is all over social media. You see us dressed up in the actual cosplay of the characters. And those were for previs, um, for Capcom, and which were so much fun because this production was directed by a film director, Jim Zero,
Hmm.
and which is not usually the case from what at least at that time. I think it's different now, but we got the chance to go through the whole script, scene for scene, dressed as the characters, doing all the choreography, all the blocking. It sort of it gave Capcom a great map of what they wanted to do when we got to the mocap sessions.
Hmm.
Um, it made the mocap sessions go super quick because by the time we shot all of that and then got into the mocap sessions, we already knew the blocking, we already knew the lines, we already knew it was just like, okay, just it was a breeze. Um, so going through that, part of it, the voice had not been cast yet, and I wasn't at that time being considered because they were just getting to know me. But I had finished shooting all the scenes. This is like December of 2007, and I thought, well, I've been playing Sheva this whole time. I basically played her through the whole, all the cutscenes, and they were getting close to making final decisions. And I had asked the director, I'm like, can I throw my hat in the ring? Can I put in an audition? I just want, if they don't want it, that's fine. Let me just, let me just give it a shot. And he was like, okay, cool. Um, did the audition, and in January, uh, they were, I guess, down to a couple names. I don't know the other names involved, but I had been told at that time, hey, thanks for, auditioning. We really appreciate it. But it's, we're going to go with someone else. And I was like, okay, let's talk about that spirituality, that energy.
Hmm.
I, in my life, don't get this very often, but it was so strong and so present that when I was told that I, wasn't going to get it, my body didn't, like, if you were told bad news, you're like, oh, rats.
Yeah.
But my body didn't react that way. My body was just like, uh-huh. And they were like, did you hear what we said? And I was like, yeah, okay. But my mind was like, no, that's not what's happening here.
Hmm.
Like, and I'm even looking at my mind going, what do you they just told you you don't have it. It was a weird moment. I was like, why am I not accepting this? And it wasn't like I was in denial. It was just like, yeah, okay. Yeah. Oh, I don't think you're right though. I didn't say that. I just was like, I hear you. But no. It was just very simple. It was just very nah. And then I don't know what happened, but within 2 days, I got the call saying that I had to be in the voice booth on Monday.
Hmm.
And I was like, yeah, I know. And it was, it was, it was a feeling that was so, can't explain it,
Hmm.
but I knew there was a very strong knowing that no matter what anyone was telling me, I was going to play the voice. I was going to do the voice. And so from that point on, back to your second part of the question, um, there was a lot of discussion on what her accent would be. So the history was still sort of changing, being a new character and all. And, you know, um, yes, she's born in Africa, but she has this whole training that takes place in Europe. And having spent most of her life growing up outside of Africa, it was finally decided that there would be this African English lilt sort of fusion hybrid.
Mhm.
So I I wouldn't say I came in knowing a lot of accents, but I'm a quick study, and uh, Liam O'Brien was the VO director on it, and I mean, amazing. Um, and Stephanie Shea, um, and uh, both of them were very they were amazing. Liam really helped cultivate that balance for me, and you know helping me sort of place where it needed to be. And then once we had a good understanding of it, then I was like, off and running,
Mhm.
because it wasn't a standard accent, you know um and that's basically how we got there.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And then my last question, because I know time and everything.
Oh
The
my
ear,
God.
the earrings, the earrings.
Oh yeah, these.
Yes.
Well, like I said, I had a shoot yesterday. I am still, need some time to look through everything and see how, we're gonna go with these picks. But yeah, I uh I dabbled in Elena's new look, and we'll see how it comes out. This is one of, well, not many, but I think we definitely want to do another shoot to pick up some more shots. And But this is like the beginning of a project that we're working on.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
It okay, so it's actually pretty I'm gonna say gnarly. I know the younger folks are gonna be like, wait, what? What does that word mean?
Gnarly.
Yes,
Oh, we're going there.
we went there. So every character that has been revealed for Street Fighter from Street Fighter 5 to now, I've gotten the opportunity to interview them before the character drops.
Oh wow,
So
that's awesome.
getting to interview and befriend most of the cast. So like, yeah, when most of the folks come out here to Hawaii, they usually just stay at my place. I'm like, hey, just stay here. I've become the Hawaii guy, especially
All
for
right, I'm gonna take
Capcom.
you up on that.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah. So it's really cool. I'm like, oh, this character, Elena's dropping in a couple days from the time we're recording this, and
Yeah.
hey, alignment, alignment.
Alignment. I definitely have some new shots on my Streamily page, streamily.com/Karen Sheva Eva. I know it's Eva, but you can't help that Sheva Eva rhyme. So, but I have stuff obviously from my Sheva pile, but I brought out a couple new items for Elena, and we'll see if what I shot. I don't know if anything that I shot from yesterday will make that in time for the release, but there's definitely the original Elena outfit on my page on my shop. So you know, that is open to the public. Feel free, get your orders in. And I will say, and I guess this is a question to the audience, because I have been approached on occasions of, because I'm trying to figure out how to do it, people wanting their merchandise signed. And, you know, I'm just trying to get a workflow of how to accept orders for, like, you know, uh, things that they want signed, whether it's, action figures, their, the game, the game box. I mean, most stuff is downloaded, I believe by now. but I have been asked to sign some, some interesting things, and I just thought, oh, there's probably a lot of other people that want, things that they have, signed for Elena or Sheva. And
Well,
I would just
yeah,
say be looking
I
out.
gotta have you sign my Street Fighter 6 the collector's edition. I've gotten almost the entire
See?
cast to sign that
Okay,
because
so
I'm gonna give it away to charity. Because anytime I get
oh,
something signed, I give it away to charity.
oh, that's awesome. That's wonderful. But that to that point, I'm trying to figure out how how to make that work so everybody, can mail things and everything gets to where it needs to go. And I'm close. So be on the lookout for that announcement for those that, want to get their items signed. Um I have stuff coming up, but you know the rule.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so, there, and then you shoot so far in advance on these things that I have to remind myself sometimes that, oh yeah, wait, that thing is still coming out. Because you get so excited, you're like, I want to see it now. You're like, no, just pretend it never happened. Um, it's so weird, like, being in an industry where you can't talk about the things that you do. But there, I said that. Throughout the entertainment industry, I'm sure in other, in other mediums, because yeah, I keep seeing those was it VO3?
Yes.
It's so
Yes.
scary, man. I just saw another one today where it's like, if I mean, I don't even know, my eyes are not trained like yours to know what to pick up on, as an unnatural performance. I'm looking at these clips, and I mean, they even showed like a simulated Fortnite
Yeah.
stream, and I'm thinking, I wouldn't know that that wasn't real. I wouldn't know, and
Yeah.
if I'm in the business and I wouldn't know, the general public certainly don't
No.
won't know.
No.
They won't know. They won't know to pick up on that, because our brains are going so fast with scrolling and streaming, and we don't stop to think what we're watching. We just watch, we just
Yeah.
consume, right? So sure, if the information is sort of important, we might go and do a little research, some. But if we're just watching entertainment, we might not even consider, I mean, we're gonna have to, because it's just gonna all be that in
Yeah.
about I'll say 5 years, but I feel like it could be next year. It could be 6 months from now. Like, it could be that quick if it's not already tomorrow. Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm looking at, maybe there's some kind of island that me and my man just go and move to, and we just go, fuck it. It's, we're out. I don't know. I don't know. It's some really weird times. If you talk to, your agents or your managers, or, like, it just seems like everyone's like, that's what
Yeah.
everybody's like. I don't know. And I'm just like, okay, all right then. You know those talks sometimes you have with your team, and you're like, okay, let's make a 5-year plan. There is no 5-year plan. Like
No.
everyone's like, we're just gonna wait and see what happens, because we don't know what we're gonna be playing with. Yeah,
No.
good times.
It really is. It really is. Like it's really to a point. Like I've seen some of the stuff with that Google Vio 3
Yeah,
thing, and
yeah,
it's like showing like people, and they look
yeah.
so real, and I'm just like,
And they're
that's
talking.
yeah. And the inflection, the tone, and I'm like, this is terrifying. A lot of
Terrifying.
young kids like, oh, this is cool. No, it's not. It's really, I mean, technologically, yes, but also this could be weaponized.
Well, the idea that it's now just being handed to the general public for entertainment use.
Yeah,
I mean, not everyone. I mean, yes, there's going to be a lot of people that will know how to use it. Are they going to be ethical? Are they going to be moral? Are they going to, play by the rules? Most likely not. But to what end? Like, I see the when they are trying to sell it, it seems to be like, oh, so this will make all your creative dreams come true. And I'm like, I don't I don't know if that's a good idea anymore. Everybody's creative dreams. Everybody.
yeah,
It used to be, okay, you need a black magic camera to make a good film. Only a certain amount of people will really go out and buy a black magic camera. This this is just like what I feel. And I know this is totally off topic, but here we go. What I feel is that the only upside to this is that human performance will become hot commodity.
yeah,
So we get so overwhelmed by these picture perfect images and sort of general dialogue and I mean I think after a while we will be able to suss out what feels, you know, fake and what feels authentic. But I think things like well, let's say not movies, but like live theater
hmm
or live concerts. I think that's going to become where, like the biggest selling points because people are going to be dying for something real,
yeah,
you know? You're
yeah,
like, "Oh my god, let me see a real person on a real stage sing a real song to me." Or let me see a real, actor on a real stage, you know, take on all this, this script. And otherwise, we're just gonna it's just gonna become like to us.
yeah,
I don't know how blown away we're going to get anymore when it's gonna start feeling a certain way. I don't know. That's my thought on it. You know, um that live music and live theater could see an upswing.
yeah, yeah.
Live performance, real people, you know.
And it's like when you really like look at it, and you look at the fact that like we went from dealing with the lockdowns and society shutting down with COVID to, hey, here's this. It's
Yeah.
like the psychological mind f that's done to it, it's too much.
Well, we all haven't ever really recovered from 2020,
No,
I think.
no,
I
we
think,
haven't.
especially the children that were growing up through that and continue to, um, deal with the repercussions of it. But even us as adults, I think I think everybody should get like some free therapy as
Yes.
an American. Oh, around the world, but especially, in this country, we should all be getting like a free week. No, not a free week. 1 day a week, 1 hour a week. Just check in, and it's free, and we could all just talk about the last 5 years
Yeah.
and try to process what the hell that was and what the hell this is, because I, I can't imagine anyone that lost loved ones, that lost, you know, and then everything since, the fires, it's just been, yeah, we need a lot of help.
Yeah.
I think there's a mental health need across the board that
Yeah.
we're going to see, and we've seen the repercussions of it. We've seen, um, you know, a downfall in well, it doesn't help that everything's so expensive
Yeah.
depending on where you live, but yeah, with industries falling and people having issues with jobs and yeah, I don't know if VO helps any of this. I want to sit there and go, okay, I look at the filmmakers who are, the well-known filmmakers who are embracing this technology and trying to use it for, to enhance their vision. That's all great, but that is nowhere near the majority of how this is going to be used. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know. These are exciting times. They're also, you know, yeah. I don't want to say I don't want to say scary, but they are fascinating. How
That-
about that? Good
that's
word. They're
that's yeah.
fascinating times.
See, see,
And
see, see, these
yeah.
are the real conversations I like having on the show. I don't
I
know
don't
if
know
you
where
want.
that came from. How did we get there?
I don't know if this is if
IT.
you
That's how we got there. IT.
if you want to. I don't know if you want to keep this in the I don't have to keep this in the podcast. I was able to get it to record. We don't have to include this. It's up to you. It's completely up to you.
When I listen back, we'll see how I feel.
Okay, okay. I'll do two
There.
different edits, one with it and one without it.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it's very much. It's a very. I like the optimistic tone of you saying exciting times because it is, and it's like we're at this shift. I feel not only as a society but as humanity as a whole. We've never been more connected than we are now, but also disconnected and so much
Yeah.
stuff. Like, I don't know how you feel about social media, but me personally, I feel like social media is great for connecting us, but also a lot of people have a severe addiction to it. I schedule posts on social media. I don't really scroll a lot or spend a lot of time on it. And it's like every time I do come back to it, it's like this is the trend, this is what's going on, this is this, and it's like
Yeah.
from a psychological aspect, I feel like that there's no way we can give or afford so much attention to literally everything, and we're getting
Oh, there's no
depleted.
way.
Yeah.
There's no way, and our brains are being burnt out. Yes, I have thoughts on social media. Um, I'm I don't think torn is the right word. I am concerned
Yeah.
because I think if you're of a certain age, if you're like, you know, around our age, I'm just going to guess we're in a closer bubble
Yes, yes, we are.
than those younger than us. But we didn't grow up with this.
Yeah, we didn't.
So we have that distance to see what it is. My worry is for the generation that grew up with this in their hand and know nothing else.
Yeah.
So they literally don't know life without it. So that that's scary to me.
Yeah.
That worries me because unless every kid gets, raised a certain way to not, have it introduced too soon. I don't know what too soon is anymore. I get where having a child being tech savvy can be fantastic in the era that we're living in, but that attention span
Yeah.
never gets developed, and empathy and human contact and communication and social skills and all these things don't get a chance to develop before they are, you know uh,
Yep.
lost into this idea that everything has to be liked before. And it's not really before the phone, but before social media, we were more, I think, aware of
And it doesn't
not
feel that long
worrying about
ago.
it. Not that long ago,
It does not feel
but
that long ago.
it doesn't feel that long ago. But we were not concerned with what people thought of us. In fact, we were encouraged to, you know, don't listen to what they have to say. It doesn't matter what they think. Da 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 da. Hold on to your own point of view. Hold on to and even, well, I don't want to get into bullying because that is an awful, huge, yeah, we're not going to go there. But the idea of standing up for yourself, no
Hmm.
matter what people thought, was kind of the thing.
Yeah.
Now, now, including the adults that have social media platform, pages and, uh, followers, now everybody has to do something to get the like, to get the
Yes.
follow. And so now it's just, I mean, to the point where people are falling off of cliffs or, putting themselves in
Yeah.
danger to do stupid things, or and it's this drive, once again with the younger generation, for them to grow up wanting likes. It's a whole self-esteem issue that never gets developed, never gets, I mean, then again, there are those that do their thing on platforms like YouTube and, uh TikTok, have millions of followers, and you can't tell them nothing because they are the shit. So, but it also is dependent on that scale,
Yeah.
whether they have followers or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just to grow up that way. Like I said, those of us that are older, we have that distance of going, well, I remember when we didn't do it that way, and there was an alternative way to do it. For them, I don't think they know any other way.
No, they don't. And it's one of the things, like I see it with my teenage girls, or preteen, teenage, whatever, semantics. But I see it with them, and they're always like, well, I put up this post and I didn't get likes, or I did this and I don't have a lot of people engaging with me, and I'm just like, why do you care? Do these
Right.
people have any impact on your life? Well, I want to be liked. I'm like, and so I say this to my kids, and I also say it to my nieces and nephews, and generally any young people that want to listen to myself. Um, there are 8 billion people on the planet. Can you realistically make 8 billion people like you? No, then it is what it
I
is.
mean, it's so hard for us to even uh, be in their shoes, because I mean, when I was their age, I only worried if one boy liked me.
Hmm.
I mean, oh, I wonder if this boy likes me. That was the end of my worries. If I had to be worried, or if I found myself, because all my friends around me were worried as well, or getting likes, and I mean, I don't even know how to relate to that.
Yeah.
That's it's a pressure that I can't relate to. I don't, so we can say that because, you know, and then they're going to turn around and say, well, so and so has 10,000 followers already. And you're like, I got nothing. I don't know. You want to say so? You.
So
Yeah.
so so I see so much of that also like within the content creator sphere, and I think maybe it's because so many of them are much younger than me. I look at it, the obsession with numbers, the obsession with doing anything for likes,
Yeah.
likes, engagement, shares. It's weird. I'm like, why can't you're not like this person that you portray offline. Why don't you just be you? Oh, well, I got to be this because this is the only way I can
Yeah.
do this. I'm just like, it's unhealthy. It's and I feel like with COVID, when the lockdowns and everything that happened, that probably, well, a lot of creators I know kind of lost it. They just, that duality of being them offline, them on camera, and kind of
Yeah.
losing sense of who they actually are. It's it should be a case study on that, in my opinion.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if there aren't several case studies. I will say though, to the positives of it,
Mm-hmm.
because and it really it's like any, I guess it's like anything, it's like food, you can abuse it or you can use it to make you healthy, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So that is sort of my take of how I use social media. um I mean, I follow positive accounts. There's so much I gain for health, diet. I mean, I can wake up in the morning, do a little scroll, and learn. Oh, if I can make this recipe today, that will be
Right?
fun. So the information. I mean, it was no different when I had an encyclopedia. I still read it. You know. So this is access
You know how
to
many young
information.
kids are going to be like, a what?
I know. Look
Yeah,
it up.
encyclopedias,
Look
dictionaries.
it
We
up.
actually go to the library.
Oh, the library. Libraries. Yeah. But see, now we have, that's what's so amazing about this technology is that we have everything right here. Oh,
Yeah.
that's my baby. Oh, he passed away 2 months ago.
Oh,
That's
sorry to
Paulo.
hear that.
Um, but we have everything right in this phone, everything that we could ever want in a positive way. If we want to learn a language, if we want to, my God, it's just at our fingertips.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of that because is a generational thing. I think that's something like from our generation where we weren't, while we were brought up to like express ourselves, there was a certain limitation. Like, all right, don't go out and make an ass of us or yourself,
Yeah.
and just jump on things without fully knowing. And a lot of people now, there's a lot of knee jerk reactions. I'll see things, and people will come to me and they'll be like, "Oh, can you believe this happened or this was said or this?" And I'm just like, "Did you cite the sources on that?" They're like, "Ooh, what do you mean?" Like, come on
Oh
come on
yeah. Yeah.
now, come on now.
Yeah. And it's that easy. That's why AI is so scary.
Yeah, yeah,
Because, you see something, usually, I want to say usually, because if I'm going, what? I go look it up.
yeah. Yeah.
What is no me what? I need to check another, I check a
Yeah.
couple places and I go, well, damn, that really happened. But um it's pretty easy if you just take a look a little bit longer to
Yeah.
say, oh, that was a I've been noticing, I mean, especially with this AI, so much more fake stuff that you have to
Yeah.
even more than before. There was I what was it? There was some. Oh, I think it was the well, I don't even want to go into politics, but it was a politician. I'll just say that. And, you know, I saw the clip. I saw his face. I saw his lips moving. I saw or heard the words coming out of the lips, but they were so unbelievable. I was like,
Yeah.
and then I found out it was a fake. But I looked to know that it was a fake. But if you looked at the comments, oh, people were already going with it and believing it and just like, can you believe this? And I'm like, it's a fake. It's a fake. Calm down. Find something else to do with your day. This is wasting your time. So, yeah, it's going to be a fascinating future.
It really is. It really is. So is
Protect yourself. Protect your mind, Yeah.
like people go outside. Go
Go outside.
outside, put the
Play a
phone
sport.
down,
Oh,
do something active. Like
read a book.
yes, and not just on your iPad or something. Actually
No,
go
like
buy a
turn the
book.
pages. Turn the pages and follow the words with your finger. Like read a book. Um, you know, yeah. If we're not being present and mindful about this technology, it will just
Yeah.
I don't know. I really, and everybody I've talked to just have that sort of like, I I don't know.
Yeah.
Like more than ever, nobody knows the future, but now more than ever, we don't know where this ship is going. Like,
Yeah.
but you're in Hawaii. It must be so. I mean, do you think? I don't know. I'm making a generalization that it is a much more spiritual, mindful place. Give me hope. Give me hope.
Well, it depends on who you talk to. So I actually had this conversation with a client earlier today, that's out here for a business, and they asked me, they're like, "How do you feel Hawaii is going to be impacted by AI and everything like that?" I said, "Well, one, we're predominantly a tourist economy and in military, and you have a lot of people here who don't." Okay, people, put your pitchforks down. I'm gonna say this is gonna be a little controversial, but it's true, and I don't care
Oh, no, here we go.
how people take this, but it's true. Um, a lot of people, yeah, you're absolved. A lot of people out here don't value education. Um, a lot of people here think, technology and all this stuff is not important, and there is and maybe my perspective is different because I'm from an island. I'm from Samoa, but and this is a similar problem there. But I also understand that because of working in corporate America and out here, and understanding that there's a lot of jobs out here in Hawaii, but there's a lot of people who are not qualified for it because the common thing in Hawaii is people dropping out of school before they hit high school. It's very common.
Wow.
So a lot of people, majority, go after retail or hospitality or just a lot of jobs that we're slowly, and tourists will know this, that they're slowly seeing a lot of AI integration. Um, a lot of the restaurants out here are replacing servers with these little cart robots that come out and bring your food and take your order. Like if you go to Ruby Tuesdays out here by the airport on Oahu, uh, you'll see that one right there specifically. There's a lot of people that were working there that have been getting let go due to the automation. And so I feel like a lot of I was telling the client, was a lot of low level workforce is going to be completely devastated. And with the numbers, the stats for the amount of people out here that are at that variable, it's going to be very difficult. So a lot of people here are not really thinking about AI. And if we're looking at the advancements that have been made in literally just the last 6 months to a year, what's going to happen in 5 years?
Yeah.
So
I mean, this is moving fast.
yeah.
I also work in commercials, and I just, as far as advertising goes, I mean, what would stop them from just replacing every commercial? I mean, those ads for VO already look like commercials.
Oh, a lot of companies out here
You
in
know?
Hawaii are using BO for commercials ever since it
Yeah,
dropped.
yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they're already doing it, and they're, or and commercials, especially, well, throughout the U.S., especially in L.A. and I'm sure New York, it is a huge industry for actors.
Hmm.
It's some actors work primarily and pay their bills primarily from commercial work. Um, so when you think about advertising, which is the dollar that funds most of the entertainment industry, most of the entertainment industry is funded by the advertising industry, that because that's why we play commercials in between every TV show, or depending on your Netflix package, uh whatever streaming package you purchased. But that's where most of the money comes from for all the shows that we stream and watch. And if these agencies and clients just decide, now we don't have to pay any residuals at all, we can
Hmm.
just, I mean, it's too easy.
Yep.
It's too easy. It's too easy. I don't want to go into discussing uh too much of, like, all the fights going on through all the labor unions, but I will say there's a lot of leverage being lost here
Yeah.
to play with. And I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I appreciate you having me on. um, I it seems like it's not, yeah, I don't know. Those are the words coming out of my mouth. I don't know. These are some times, man. I've been in this business since I was 10 years old, and never have I ever seen a time like this, ever. you know, um, yeah, and I'm still hopeful.
Yeah.
I'm still hopeful. I guess because the other side of that coin is that we all become creators, right?
Hmm.
You create your podcast. I create my side projects and stories and whatnot. And as a creator, we no longer have a gatekeeper
Yeah.
that we have to answer to if we truly want to I mean, now we have the tools to just really make whatever we want. And that's kind of what they're selling us on
Yeah.
with all this stuff. You know, you can do whatever you want. And so those that will, as we have already seen, succeed.
Yeah.
You know, those that jump on it. And I mean, I'm seeing, and I'm still kind of behind the boat. That's not really a saying,
We'll make it a
but
say.
you know what I mean. I'm a little, I'm a late bloomer when it comes to, you know, having a YouTube channel, or I too have not gone after followers uh, from years ago. I've, taken my time. Because when I look at the people who have channels or um, social media personas,
Hmm.
it's a full time gig. It's a full time, and I have not felt like that is the way I wanted to live my life or use all the hours of my day.
Hmm.
Um, because I see people burn out, you know, constantly carrying a camera around with them all day. But I'm learning. I'm learning how it works for me.
Hmm.
I'm learning how I have fun with it. You know, like when I do these cosplay shoots, they're not every week, but they're when I feel the inspiration to do them. And then it's fun for me. And same goes with whatever, ideas I come up with and want to, produce. Um, so I try to, you know, inspire myself to do more that I I don't want to say comfort zone because that's a trap, but with what
That's a
works
whole conversation there.
that's a whole conversation. But with what works, what works in my life right now, because I have health goals, I have, goals outside of the entertainment industry that are important to me.
Hmm.
And yeah, I want that balance. So yeah, I'm learning, and I'm seeing people. I saw something on Instagram the other day that people are just, I mean, they have always been creating series on YouTube, but now it seems like there's I guess, a competition between the shows that we see on streaming services and shows that people are shooting with their iPhone
Yeah.
with the same sort of, quality, and having a fan base because of it, getting viewers because of it. So I go, wow, that's so exciting to me.
Hmm.
You don't have to go up to the heads of the studio and go, can we do this? They're just doing it and they're having a blast. They're being creative, um, and anything kind of goes. Like we used to have to go by the rules when producing a show or writing a script,
Hmm.
and audiences are more open-minded than that. So you know they're finding their audience.
Yeah, they definitely
Yeah.
are.
So
So I,
I'm inspired by that. I'm in,
so I know that I said 45 minutes. I know we've gone
oh my
over
God.
that.
Oh man.
Do
Oh,
you
did we talk
have?
about anything?
Well, no, that's what I was gonna say. Like, are
Oh
you?
yeah,
Do
let's
you,
talk about some game stuff.
okay, well, okay. I did want to talk about that, but there's one thing you mentioned, and I'm like, I kind of want to see if you want to deep dive on that. You talked about energy and the output of energy. So I'm very much
Yeah.
very into energy, holistic healing, and everything like that. I do feel personally that I study a lot of hermeticism and just learning how energy can't be destroyed. It just oscillates to something else. So I'm
Hmm.
curious, like when you were mentioning that, like how are you a very spiritual person or?
I am. I'm spiritual. Not. super religious,
Hmm.
but definitely spiritual. I, without a doubt,
Okay.
I feel connected, uh, and I think I make my choices in life based on. Um, I mean, I think it's more than intuition.
Yeah.
There's a calling, I believe, and I mean, I'm definitely doing my calling. I mean, I knew at a very young age what I wanted to do,
Hmm.
and it's been that way for the rest of my life since then. So I know I got it right. um, but I like to pay attention to that. I feel like, you know there's a lot to read from people and situations if we pick up on what's going on,
Yeah.
you know and so yeah, I believe in energy. I believe in a spirituality.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
No, and I do think it's very important that, we all find what our calling is and follow our inner intuition. That's kind of an
Yes, I do believe in the path.
oxymoron.
I
Yes,
do believe
yes.
there's a path, and when we listen, we are led.
Yeah, yeah. Because like when you
Mhm.
look at like the different situations you can be in, you have like an inner feeling of, oh, this may I don't know if I should really do that, or there's danger, or maybe I should actually give this, like that's your inner intuition, your energy, like that I your path. Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because when whether it's an inner voice or just a feeling, I know in the times that when I've ignored it,
hmm.
more often than not, it slaps me back, going, "Nope,
Yeah.
that was not the right answer. You were supposed to be going this way. Okay." And then I get realigned, you
Yeah.
know. So I feel, and so in that, and when I'm being mindful about it, I trust the process.
Yeah.
You hear that saying, trust the process. But I am a big believer that, what is for you.
Hmm.
And you know, you can mess it up by delaying it,
Yeah.
you know, but there are going to be obstacles, there's going to be challenges. Um, Something that, you know, might be a challenge you might think is a detour, and it's like, no, you're supposed to go through that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when you don't, you get another opportunity to, right? You're like, no, no,
Yeah.
no, let's do this again. Which way are we going? Oh, rats, I gotta go do this thing. And then, you know yeah, yeah, I can, yeah, the paths, you know
Yeah. Do
yeah.
you meditate a lot or?
I think I have a different form of meditation. I'm not a person that sits still very easily,
Hmm.
but I realize where I meditate. So I have to be I have to be doing something to meditate, if that makes sense. So,
I'm
like,
that way. I get it. I
yeah,
yeah.
like golf is a meditation for me. I absolutely love golf. I grew up playing golf. My dad used to be a pro. So I've had my whole childhood playing golf, and I still play. And it's like, it's the happiest place for me to be, because it's quiet,
Hmm.
you're with nature, and your relationship between your body, the club, and the ball is just like this sweet synergy that you know there's like this I explain this sometimes, that you know it mirrors life for
Yeah.
me, because if I hit the ball and it doesn't go where I want it, I get another hole.
Mm-hmm.
I can start over again at the next hole. And if I hit the ball and it doesn't go where I want it, it doesn't mean the hole is a loss.
Mm-hmm.
I can still make another shot and get it on the green. And these are like little lessons to me in my head going, it's not the end of the world. Hit the ball, clear your mind, forget the last hole. You're playing this hole now.
Mm-hmm.
It just resets my mindfulness every time. And so I find that to be a meditation.
Okay. Yeah, I
Works a lot, yeah.
it's interesting. One of my friends, Gerald Rivers, who does Bison and Street Fighter, he plays a lot of golf and very spiritual person. He says very similar things. Like when he's playing golf, he has that similar experience as you. And like Gerald and I, we talk a lot about spirituality and meditation in a sense of it's not just. I think a lot of people when they think of meditation, they do think, oh, sitting lotus position, all that stuff. Where it's like meditation is literally just centering yourself and getting within your natural vibration alignment path, however you want to call it. It doesn't have to be a very static thing. Like I a lot of people are like, oh, you're obsessed with health and fitness and all that. I'm like, I find comfort and meditation in the uncomfortable. I put myself in situations where I'm forced to just be uncomfortable and find that comfort within comfort. Now, it sucks when I'm benching. I'm just like, I just want to put this
Right,
back
right.
on. I'm like, I don't want to lift this. But there's something about it, and it kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier about, comfort zones that can be a trap. I feel like a lot of people now are trapped in their comfort zones. And sometimes you just got to get out of it.
Yeah. We learned a lot of bad habits during COVID,
Yeah.
you know, out of necessity, out of survival. And it took me, I mean, I felt like I was becoming, I think the term is agoraphobic. Am
Hmm.
I saying that right? Where I did not want to leave the house. I you know, wasn't making choices to go outside. Thank goodness, um, I started to, but it took things like playing sports to get me like, you know, um, to do that.
Yeah.
And because it was very comfortable to just stay and watch the TV and keep getting fed, you know, what horrible things were going on. And, when I wasn't watching my game shows, that is my what do you call it? That's my, oh, I forgot
Pastime.
the term. Pastime? Eh, it's my, oh my God, it's gone. It will come back. But I love game shows. That's my thing. But yeah, you can I think comfort zones are things too that we lose time in without realizing it.
Yeah.
Um, there's I mean, yeah, I can remember just, you know, either watching my game shows, being, holed up on the couch during our, the worst of the COVID lockdown, and not knowing what day it is anymore, because we were just, uh, yeah, that became the comfortable thing to do. That was a hard habit to break. I was going to say, though,
Okay.
also about the meditation.
Okay.
When you mentioned the, the benching, I think too, it's what quiets the mind, right? Because you're
Yes.
concentrating. You're concentrating. You have to use all your concentration to get this weight. You know, and then in doing that, you can't think about anything else,
Yeah.
and that's where your mind can be at rest. And that's how I feel. Excuse me. On the golf course, I'm also a pickleballer. I
Oh,
admit it.
nice.
I'm an addict. I go, if not every day, every other day when I can. But I'm, it lights me up because I can't think about anything else about where that ball's going next. Like it just, I think that's a form of meditation.
Yeah.
I don't think about anything else because I have to make sure when that ball comes back at me, I'm ready for it. Like your mind is just, I think, that's the way I have to meditate, because sitting in the quiet, there's no way to quiet this thing.
No.
I mean, I'm not no way. We just explained a few ways, but you know what I mean. In when there's nothing going on, it's hard to not that I don't try. Jacuzzis work.
That's true. They do.
Jacuzzis are very relaxing. Jacuzzis are a great place to meditate.
Uh,
Let's get to the jacuzzi.
um, and if we were to tie that back into social media now, I feel like because social media is such an attention grabber, we even when people are looking at their phones or scrolling, they're not focusing on one thing. It's like, all right, here, swipe, swipe, swipe. So the attention span is being destroyed. So
Yeah.
they can't focus on anything. And I'm not saying people need to sit and do the lowest position and all that to meditate, but like do something that makes you focus on a singular thing. Be it sports, like pickleball. I love pickleball. We actually have a pickleball court by Alamar Beach, which is phenomenal.
Oh,
Yes.
that's nice.
Yes. But it's like, do something that actually makes you focus on a singular thing for longer than 5 to 10 seconds, which I think the attention span now is 5 to 10 or 5 to 12 seconds. That's horrifying to me.
It's it's a problem.
Yeah.
It's a problem. And I see it being a problem for, well, obviously, storytelling. I come from a generation where like movies used to be really slow and you had to get absorbed in the slowness and the story would slowly unfold and it'd be like and now it's like if you don't tell me what's happening, like I'm out. You know what I mean? Like, if I don't know what's happening in the next 5 minutes, click next channel. There is no time for anything to unfold or have like these, like, well, this is gonna be an old reference, but one of the movies that I think about that I absolutely love is Remains of the Day. I don't know
Oh,
if you know
that's a
this movie.
good one. That's a good one.
It's a good movie, right?
Yeah.
But come on, if that movie came out today,
No, it wouldn't work.
Remains of the Day, Anthony Hopkins, I was like, give that man an Oscar. He made me watch a movie about a butler who doesn't say anything. Like, come on, And it's just like the tension and the sorry,
No,
I live
that's
in
fine.
a
It's fine. It's fine.
um are they coming to get me?
I know, right?
Emma Thompson, Anthony Hopkins. I suggest people go see it. But those movies were quite popular. I mean those kind of movies, and they're not. It's not like they're not being made; they still are, but we don't see them, at least, uh, talked about as much as they used to be, and
Yeah.
because you know movie studios are probably like, well, we can't throw millions of dollars on that. We need people to be in the seats shaking and dodging bullets, and I love action movies. Don't get me wrong, action movies are very important to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I love all movies, and we all know that theatrically, movies in the theaters have been taking a huge hit. You know,
Yeah.
if it's not a Marvel film or
Even those are
you
going
know,
down. Like,
those are going down, but those are the ones still that those types of movies are the ones that they will throw the money at
yeah.
now. And then you go to the movie theater and 5 screens are you know um thunderbolts, you know what I mean? So those movies that pass themselves as movie slash ride,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a big fan. I love action movies. I'm going to see the latest or last Mission Impossible. Haven't seen it yet. Gonna go see it. But I love action movies. I love spy movies. I love, big fan. But I want to make sure that the other movies you know, get seen as well or get
Yeah.
made as well. And I guess that's, going back to the AI or VO that you and I can go make our own remains of the day and just put in the right prompt. We don't even need a see. This is what it makes me sick just saying it. We don't need a crew. We don't need a camera. We don't where's the synergy in that? Where is the collaboration of creativity in just putting in a prompt and getting, I mean, sorry, I just yeah, maybe
No.
I'm not going to use that thing. I don't think I will. That just made myself sad. Yeah, that's great. Get your movie made, but you will not gain the art of filmmaking by doing it.
Yeah.
You will not learn how to collaborate with other people by doing it. You will not learn how to, you know, take a script and rewrite and rewrite and rewrite until you get it where it shines.
Mm-hmm.
And you will not understand what makes that happen. You will not. I saw a YouTube podcast. I guess it's a podcast. Because when they're having interviews face to face, it feels like it's an interview, but it's a
Mm-hmm.
podcast. And uh, is a very popular um, guest. But just to paraphrase, that we are losing the idea of the struggle,
Mm-hmm.
which makes us better at life, at skills, at communication, at when we can just type it in, or you know I guess it is everybody's just typing it in and get it without learning how we got it, without learning how to get it ourselves. We start losing that skill to learn anything,
Yeah.
to do things, to progress, and you know um we still may have that distance of knowing how to have done it because we're older. Wow, I hope everything's okay outside.
They're after you. They're
Yeah,
like, be careful what you're gonna say here.
you'll never find me. I'm gonna wait. Sorry, I saw like birds darting off the roof. I'm like, okay, the end of the world is not happening right now, is it? Oh Lord, it's Friday. Oh man, I think I lost my train of thought.
You're
There it
talking about
goes.
the downside of instant gratification.
We. Oh, I should
Yeah.
have finished that sentence.
See, they're after you
I
now.
I I know it had something to do with just being able to being able to grow as an artist. And what oh, I got it.
Okay.
I got it. So you and I, being older, we have that distance. We did these things before. We wrote our own book reports. We struggled with our science projects. In our adult lives, we had to actually work to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
And now the generation coming up, if all they learn is how to type, I just, going back to those three words, I don't know. Like, they don't develop a skill set. And I guess you know, uh, I'm really concerned about the young ones, like the ones that are, I mean, your daughter's age. And, you know, I know you're doing a great job keeping them,
I wonder about that
mindful
sometimes.
and hoping, and open minded and wanting to learn and persevere. Learning to persevere.
Yeah.
That's a word that might not even be in the dictionary anymore. Persevere, like, yeah. So those ages and younger, because by the time they get to be adults and everything can just come to them. I knew there was an issue when I saw teenagers not wanting to learn how to drive.
That is the strangest thing I've been seeing so much of. I'm like,
And I was
really?
like, oh
Like, we
wow.
couldn't wait to drive.
We couldn't, I mean, the day I turned 16, I had my license. I had my permit. I've been practicing. You couldn't get I want independence so hard. And then when I hear kids like, "Well, we just get an Uber, we just get a Lyft," and I was like, "But you don't even want to learn how to operate a car?" Like, to me, that's just an example. There are other things that they're not learning to do
Mm-hmm.
because they don't have to. And those skill sets at such a young age not being developed. I mean, I drove stick. Okay.
See,
I know, but if
this
they don't want to,
generation,
they're not going to want to drive stick.
this generation doesn't
But
know about
yeah,
that. Or using
what you
maps.
or using what?
Or using maps.
Oh, maps. Oh man, and I'm really good. I mean, if you put me on Amazing Race, I am not getting lost. I'm really good with directions. I without I know my way around a map. I certainly know, like, yeah, I know my way around without a map. I have a good directional sense. But it's because I read a map at a young age and went traveling at a young age and explored at a young age. And yeah, I don't know if you know the Thomas guide.
Yes, I do.
I don't know how we didn't crash more often, because we had that Thomas guide in our laps trying to get to auditions, and like, and it was never on the next page. It was like, if you want to continue off this page, you had to go to like 50 pages back. So I'm like, man, I ain't got time to find this page. I need to know where to make this turn. And yeah, yeah. We did things, and because we had to do things, we can do them without thinking about it. Another thing I heard, like, people were like, "Oh wow, I don't remember phone numbers anymore. Like, I used to know all the numbers that I needed that were in my book, and now we don't have to use them. We just press, someone's name." And the idea of remembering a number is like, I don't remember how to remember numbers. Like, you don't use it, you lose it. And
Yeah.
but the kids never used it, so I don't know how that turns out. Cursive writing.
Oh yeah, they don't do that anymore at all.
Yeah.
I'm just like, really? I mean, I have chicken scratch for a signature, but like I remember how like the amount of time I spent having to trace over all the cursive cursive letters and everything like that. And then my 11 and 12-year-old, they're just like, "What's cursive?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"Here's a book,
Oh,
and you're gonna have to do."
here's the one that blew my mind. Okay, all of these blew my mind, but this,
Are you having fun so far?
I'm having a great time. Tell me
Awesome.
when I'm talking too much
No,
because
no,
I
no.
have
Keep going. Keep going. Keep
a
going.
lot of tea.
Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going. I'm having fun.
Um, they can't read a clock.
That's so true. They don't know how to. If it's not digital, they
If
don't
it's
know
not
it.
digital. So I like, so when you go, well, for those that do, when you go to Europe and see these old churches and and like, and there's these big clocks from back, like, you can't, you can't read the clock. Like, it's not hieroglyphics. It's just a clock. Like, what? I'm like, that's when I got really scared. Like, oh no, oh no, no, no. You should. I mean, the clock is on, so you're not wearing a. Okay. I guess I don't know. I mean, and look, this is generalization. Not every kid is like that. Not everybody, you know, is unable to read a clock.
Full disclosure,
But
people. Not all kids. Not all for the
not
all
kids.
police.
But if you don't know how to read a clock, you should try.
Yeah.
It's important
Yeah.
because there are many clocks in the world, and you may have to read one day.
Yeah. And it makes me think
Yeah.
about when you mentioned perseverance with being like kind of foreign to this younger generation, it's something that I've noticed not only with my own daughters, but also with like other young people in general in their 30s, which is interesting to see people in their 30s like this, but like 30s and 20s and such, where if they are met with any form of resistance or struggle or strain, they stop.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm just like, why? Keep going until you get it. Like that should
Yeah.
be the thing. Like
Yeah.
how bad, like, okay, so again, like I mentioned, I'm very big into fitness. And there was someone at my gym recently that was just like, they were talking to me, once it's probably like 2, 3 weeks ago. They were saying, hey, can I talk to you? And I'm just like, I'm zoned out. I'm doing my lift and everything like that. And I was like, okay, yeah, yeah, what's up? And they say, oh, well, I don't feel like I'm making any progress. And I think I'm gonna cancel my gym membership. And I'm like, I've only seen you here for like 2 weeks. They're like, yeah, but I'm like, how old are you? 22. 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
I'm like, what is your goal? Well, I want to lose 50 pounds. You're not gonna lose that 20 in 2 weeks. I'm like, you gotta stick with it. Yeah, but it's hard. That's the point.
It's hard.
It
Yeah.
builds character, it builds discipline. Stick with
Yeah.
it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and this, like, this is not everybody.
Yeah.
There are hardworking, persevering young people. And I think those people are the ones connected to their calling.
Yeah.
I think those people, you you couldn't tell me at 10 years old that I couldn't do what I wanted to do when I knew what I wanted to do because that's all I wanted to do.
Hmm.
So when, you see these YouTubers or, millionaire, Instagram TikTokers, and they are they are driven. The ones that are succeeding at a very young age, they're driven. They're learning about business, um, which is great. So kudos to those. Hopefully they know how to read a clock. Yes, hopefully. Oh, I hope. I have nothing but hope. Also, I don't know.
Oh, okay. So I have a question for you. Okay.
Mm.
So, what are and we're gonna get back to Street Fighter. I know
Oh, okay.
we've detoured
Woo!
so far off of it, but this is
I mean,
these are the conversations I live for because I'm like, this is so organic. This is literally if we were in a room talking, this is the type of stuff we talk about. Um, so oh god, I had a brain fart. What was I about to say? Oh, okay, it came back. There we go. So,
okay.
what? Okay, I know you mentioned sports and game shows being some of your hobbies. What are some of the things that you enjoy doing? Some of your hobbies and such that people may not know,
That may not know.
or maybe they do. I don't know.
Huh. Well, I think I've been kind of boring lately. I had more interesting hobbies before COVID. Uh, because I did a lot of work in burlesque
Mm-hmm.
and circus. Um, I had like over 20 years of doing like fire and juggling and walking on a ball, and my burlesque act had a lot to do with circus skills. And But after COVID, I started to change my focus, and I'm not really doing much of that anymore. But those were definitely the interesting things that
Mm-hmm.
that I used to do. And stilts. Oh, I can't forget stilts. Did a lot of stuff. I did a lot of work on stilts. And so now, uh, I still need to be active. I had a professional career as a dancer. I'm not dancing as much, so the dancing kind of turned into more sports. Um, I still dance here and there, but yeah, I think golf and pickleball have taken over my schedule, and also cooking. I guess I do a lot of cooking now. I wasn't much of a cook before.
Mm-hmm.
My man is a really good cook, and he did most of it. But he travels a lot, and so I've pushed past my comfort zone and started making more dishes and meals and recipes, and now I have fun with it. And yeah, I wouldn't say I'm great, but I'm pretty good, you know, with the things I know how to do well now. And I like exploring and making new things, and making things that are healthy. I think that's my take on it.
Mm-hmm.
Finding substitutes for things like sugar and carbs and stuff. I'm not carb 100% carb free or 100% sugar free, but I definitely will be mindful of that when I'm making food, of like, okay, let's get more veggies in this. Let's make this pizza crust with broccoli. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've done, the broccoli crust pizzas, and yeah, I have fun with that.
Okay. Okay.
I'm trying to think what other that they may not know. Yeah.
See, this is something you have over a lot of people now. Is the fact that you've
But,
done so much stuff that you have to
oh
think
yeah,
about it.
yeah.
See, versus the people who are just like, you know.
All the crazy stuff was in the past, and I've done some crazy stuff. Um, yeah, I've done some crazy stuff.
Oh, there's stories there.
Sometimes it feels like another lifetime. Oh well, I mean, there's plenty online. I'm sure if you just put in my name in Google and like fire, that will come up, and other crazy things. But yeah, it just feels less crazy now.
Hmm.
Used to be whenever my friends would introduce me to somebody, they were like, "Hey, she eats fire," and now it's just like, "Oh, it's just Eva." um, I'm not as interesting as I used to be, but I am peaceful.
See,
I
that's
feel,
important though.
yeah, that's important for me. I think I'm living, uh, I'm 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 focused, but I'm fulfilling the time that I have. I'm very intentional
Hmm.
because I think when I was younger, you feel like you have to do everything, and it's good to try things, and it's good to have opportunities to do as much as you can. But I will say, feeling like you have to do everything can be stressful.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
and so now I'm like, I don't have to do everything. I can do whatever I want. And what do I want? And so then I can focus and, uh, just be more intentional with my time, um, and have more fun with it. Not that, a lot of that stuff was fun, um, you know, and I'm glad it's part of my life. And now I'm just focusing on other things. It allows me to focus more on voice work. It allows me to focus more on acting. What's left of that industry, and and learning about these, upcoming uh, these upgrades that we're about to go through. Because like you said, time goes by so fast. I mean, I woke up this morning and I had a lot to do. And by the time I got to it, it was 2 o'clock. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I don't know how I fit a lot of that stuff that I used to do back in the day. It's the same 24 hours, but it just feels like it's flying by.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
It's terrifying in a way. Well, not terrifying. Okay, let me use a different word. That's too negative. Um, it is interesting
Interesting.
to know that we're closer to 2030 than we are to 2000 or the 90s or 80s. And it's like when I think back to 80s, 90s, early 2000s, I'm just like, wow. Even the 2010s, I'm like, oh, that was a different time. But then like now it's just like when I think about those memories back then, it just feels like it was a couple of weeks ago, maybe a year. It
Yeah.
doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but it's like, oh,
Yeah.
20 years, 30 years. Oh, wow, it's 30 years ago.
Oh, wow.
It's like, and then when you talk to like the younger generation, they have no concept of the things you're talking about. Like, I'm like, yeah, I remember what it was like when, if you want to use a computer, you had to go to a library or,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know,
Don't tell them. Don't.
or if you're surfing the internet and someone picks up the landline. They're like, a landline? What's that? Like, do you know what a
Yeah.
payphone is? A what?
Yeah. No, no, no. Don't scare them. Don't scare them. Don't scare them.
Like,
Those. Because, yeah, our idea of what was classic, had a slower speed of ingenuity.
yeah,
But between 2020 and 2025, the
yeah.
world has changed more. Yeah,
It
I
changed more
don't
than our
know.
lives. It changed more than our lifetime. It's
I
so
mean,
wild.
I mean, so, the older generation ahead of us, I kind of sometimes am jealous of them because, whether they are at the end of their life or they've passed on, they had this they had this lifespan where things kind of stayed the same.
Yeah,
There was very Compared to what we're going through now, there was very little that changed that drastically. And, they had to get used to VCRs and microwaves. And then we were with microwaves for a very long time. We still have it. So if you're, a lot older, or I'm not trying to be negative either by saying you pass, you have like you could kind of understand what was going on I fear when we get to those senior ages, I'm just gonna be checking out. I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It is so away. I mean, I know I know my dad, he doesn't want to use the computer. He does not use social media. My mom, on the other hand, she stays connected. She gets it to a
Yeah.
degree, or at least she tries, or at
Yeah.
least she knows how to use her cell phone. She there's a lot that she knows how to do as long as she like stays up to date with it. But my dad was pretty much like, nah, I'm out. I feel like when we get to be that age, I feel like, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna hang on for the whole ride, because what we're gonna be doing or being confronted with, yeah, I don't know. I keep saying that, but I really don't know, because
I mean, it's true because at least the older generations, they had a little bit of like a roadmap of what to expect, because advances in life weren't as astronomical as it is for us, where I feel like for them, a lot of them went from black and white TV to color TV to changing of every 10 years. There's a different fashion and trend and music.
yeah,
That's it. Whereas us, oh, we went from cell phones to smartphones to tablets to everything at your fingertip to now you don't have to make food. You can just Uber eat. Oh, you don't want to drive there? Get a Uber, or all this instant stuff. And
instant.
it's like I feel, and I had this conversation with who did I have this conversation? My friend Chris Sharps, he's a voice actor, and I was saying to him, because he's around the age that we are, and I told him, I said, sometimes I feel like displaced in time. Like I don't like I know my age, but I don't feel it unless
Yeah,
I'm around young people, and they're like, "Oh, you're old." I'm not old. I'm vintage. Put respect on
you
it.
say you say the wrong you say the wrong reference word, and they go,
What?
you're like, oh damn,
They're like,
they're, they're glitching, they're glitching.
they're like, oh, act your age. What do you mean act my age? What do people my age act? What does that
Yeah.
mean? And
Well,
it's
that's redefined. That's redefined too, because we're not aging like we used to.
yeah, we aren't. No.
I refuse. I mean, mentally, there's only so much I can do physically, but well, when I say physically, health wise, yes, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But mentally, I just stay at the right level of immaturity, just to, that's my trick.
Uh,
That's my
it
secret.
is so trippy. Like when people find out my age, they're like, "You're how old?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "You don't
Oh, we're
look
not
it."
going to discuss that here, right? We're not going
No,
to get into
no,
numbers.
no, no, no. I'm just
Okay,
saying,
great,
because
great.
there's a lot of folks out here in Hawaii. They're like way younger than me, but look far older than me, and I'm just like, hey, but it is.
And you can learn so much on the internet about that. I
Yeah,
do. There's, we can take care of our bodies, we can take care of our minds, you know.
and it's so important. It is so
It's
important.
so important. It because it's a slippery slope. Um, as far as, you know, thinking you can do the same things you've been doing since no, not childhood, but early adulthood,
Hmm.
and get away with it anymore. And then you realize, oh, my body can only take so much. And now I need to, you know, well, for
Yeah.
those that even consider to change, some people don't, but, uh, that's a whole other discussion. And I'm sure that's a discussion that we would enjoy. what I'm sensing from you about health habits and exercise and what we put in our bodies and stuff like that. So
Yes.
I'm learning every day, and it's you know it's empowering me. So
Yeah. See, I told you this is not going to be a typical
oh
podcast or
no,
interview. So
no, it was lovely, lovely. Thank you so much for having me.
it's been an absolute honor having you on the show. Definitely got to have you on the show again. Got to have you out here in Hawaii. I didn't even ask you if you've been out here to Hawaii.
Oh, I have been to Hawaii several times. I will say the last time was quite a while ago. Um, so I'm due.
Okay. Well, let me
And
know.
where can I ask where in Hawaii you are, or is that a private location?
Oh no, I'm in the heart of Waikiki.
Mm,
So I'm on the
all
water.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Certainly have been there. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yep. And if you come out here, like I said, I have I'm the Hawaii guy. Like voice actors and other folks are like, I'm coming out to Hawaii. All right, cool. All right, I got a room for you.
All right. You'll be hearing from me. You'll be hearing from me. I'm looking to do some traveling this year.
Awesome, awesome. And and
Traveling.
and and with that being said, where can people find you?
Okay. Where can people find me? They can find me on Instagram at Eva La Dare.
Mhm.
They can find me on Twitter/X
It's
at
forever Twitter.
it's forever
It's
Twitter.
forever Twitter.
At Karen Sheva Eva. You can find me at streamly.com/Karen Sheva Eva. And yes, I go by Eva, but I I I I I always sign stuff with both names because my professional name changed like right after Resident Evil 5 came out. So I know there's a huge part of the fan base that knows me by that name, and I just like I don't know, felt confusing to I don't negate that I ever was Karen. So and then you can find me also at my website eviladare.com. I
Okay.
think
I was gonna say you're not on.
threads. I'll say this. I had a Facebook page. I got a new phone and I have no access to it now. Somebody help me. So don't try to find me there for a while. Yeah, I think Instagram is your best. Oh, and TikTok at
Okay.
Evil Adair on TikTok.
Okay.
I think I
Okay.
got everything.
You know,
I think
Blue
I got
Sky. Okay. So I'll say
Blue
this.
Sky. Oh, are you?
I have an account there. I don't post on it because it's just like most social media platforms, people just angry. And I'm like, okay, you left X. Why are you still talking about X? It's
Wow.
like it's just one of those things where I see a lot of it, and people are like, oh, this is free from toxicity, but then they're addicted, whether they want to admit it or not. They're addicted to toxicity, so they create it, and I'm just like, y'all can have it. I'm good.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of getting these social media platforms. I'm tired of it.
Well, I didn't do Blue Sky. I barely do Threads. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's sort of connected to your Instagram, so I do post there. Um, but I think I connect more with the fans on Instagram and Twitter
Okay.
X. Um,
Twitter.
as far as like communicating and whatnot. I'm still developing the TikTok page and paying more attention to it and, having more fun with it. I really got to tell myself, learn how to have fun with these things because it's time consuming.
Yes.
And I still want to have a life, but I do love both the characters that I have gotten to play, and I mean they're just positive characters. I'm just so proud of both of them being like really great role models.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when Elena is like, she's the happiest fighter ever.
Yes.
Like
She
it's just
is.
and it's such a joy to get beaten by her, right? So, yeah, I love them both.
So with that being said, people, that's the episode of the podcast. I know it was a long one, but it was a good one. It was a long one, but it was a good one.
Thank you.
You know what? I know, like, typical podcasts do, like I said, they do the QA format. This is what I live for. I love the organic conversations. I love getting to get to know the guests that I have, and this has been an absolute honor having you on the show. I
This has
thoroughly
been a lot of
enjoyed
fun.
Yeah,
It's been a lot of fun.
We definitely got to do this again. And I want to thank the sponsor of the show, Spotify. Only podcast in Hawaii sponsored by Spotify, which if you haven't listened to the show, I know I got to get more people like 98% of my audience listens to this either on Amazon Music or, Apple Music. Not Apple. Apple Podcasts. Sorry, I forgot what it was. Okay. Apple Podcasts or iHeartRadio or Amazon Music. But I'm sponsored by Spotify. Go to Spotify. Please go over to Spotify and listen to it. Yes, please go listen to the show. We got to get our Spotify numbers up. But thank you to Spotify for sponsoring the show, and thank you, Eva, for coming on the show. It's absolutely honor. We got to do this again. And with that being said, people, make sure you follow her on all her social media platforms. If you need merch signed, she's working on it. She'll get it done.
I'm working on it. We're going to make it happen.
Yes. And make sure you check out her Streamerly and get ready for Street Fighter 6. I know I'm dating the podcast by saying that, but hey, why not? With that being said, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out. And mahalo for your time for listening to this episode of the Kasanova podcast, number one podcast in Hawaii. If you found this episode to be incredibly enjoyable, informative, or if there's anything you gain from it, or any insight, or anything that's good that you really, really enjoyed, make sure whatever platform you're listening to it on, or if you're watching it, leave a comment if that's available on the platform, like it, share it around with someone you think would enjoy it, and give us some feedback, because your feedback is exactly what we need to keep this show going. And if you're wondering what are some ways that you could support the show, we got various ways. We've got Patreon, we have channel memberships over on YouTube, as well as Subscribestar, Coffee, and so much more. Links for everything will be in the description of the podcast, so make sure you go check that out. And with all that being said, I hope you have an aloha rest of your day.
Let them know that I'm next level. I'm a whole new kind of guy. Yeah. Yes, at the top spot, in case you forgot. We the ones that got the block hot, bullet got the shot.